Hi guys, welcome back. So today we've got this BMW M2 N55 in for a stage 1 upgrade package. But before we jump into it, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, also notification bell, then you won't miss if our new videos go live. So a stage 1 upgrade package on this. What is in an upgrade package? So on these cars, basically what we call like an upgrade package is everything you can do power-wise to get a tangible upgrade without replacing the factory downpipe and obviously making it catless or modifying the factory downpipe so you put a sports cat in there. So this particular package includes obviously the stage 1 ECU remap, so it optimizes like fuel, ignition, boost, all the other maps inside the ECU to improve the output of the vehicle. And then with that, we're installing an Eventuri intake, so a full carbon fiber intake. It's going to look really great under the bonnet, improve the tone of the intake, the volume as well. And then also the Ftp Charge Pipes. So those are going to solve one of the biggest problems on these cars reliability wise, which is the plastic throttle body hose actually breaking. And obviously if that's broken, then you've got pretty much all the airflow is going into the atmosphere. You're not going to have a lot of power, so it's going to be pretty boring to drive. And then the Csf Intercooler are going to be installed in this car as well. Obviously these particular cars, they use the same intercoolers on 114i all the way up to M2. So it's not really adequate for even the standard car, let alone once you increase the boost pressure and put a lot more heat through the system. So we're going to be installing all those upgrades today, and obviously the ECU software to sort of bring it all together. So first things first, you're going to get the car on the dyno, see how much power it's making now, and then we'll take it into the workshop, talk you through all the parts, do a little bit of an unboxing, and then we'll go back on the dyno, install the ECU software, and then talk you through the graphs as well. So see you in a little bit. Csf Intercooler, we've got the Eventuri intake, got the Ftp Charge Pipes. We've moved all the standard parts as well, and we've got them side by side just next to me. We're going to talk you through them right now. So first up, we've got the Csf Intercooler versus the Factory Intercooler. Now the Csf Intercooler, as well as being significantly deeper, it's a lot taller as well, and it's also taller than many of the other aftermarket options by a couple of bars as well. So as well as being a massive upgrade over the standard intercooler, it's also a big upgrade over other aftermarket ones as well. And as you can see here, it's got the unique curved bars on here. So as well as being a bar and plate intercooler, it's also got these unique curved bars. What that allows is better airflow through the intercooler core and a bigger surface area on these bars as well. So you get maximum sort of cooling power from it. So these intercoolers on sort of like an M2, they make around sort of like a 15 horsepower difference if you do software. So if you have the car stage 1, then you put a Csf intercooler on it, you get tangible gain. So this is really important to getting bigger gains from this car. The reason why you get the gains is because the standard intercooler, as you can see in front of me just here, is absolutely tiny. It's the same intercooler they use on the 114i all the way up to obviously M2 that we've got here in front of us, like the M55, the biggest air-to-air intercooled cars. And it just struggles. It really struggles to keep the charge temps consistently cool. Obviously a 114i, it's got under sort of like 200 horsepower. The M2's got well over 300 horsepower, and then once you tune it, it's got over 400 as well. So it really struggles with the factory horsepower, let alone once you tune it. And what you want to do is you want to keep the charge temps consistently cool. So as the turbo compresses the air, it generates a lot of heat. And to get rid of that heat, you need a good intercooler, and that's what the intercooler's job is for. So if you install a bigger intercooler, like a Csf intercooler, it's much more efficient. It can keep the charge temps consistently cool for longer, and it helps you get sort of like maximum power as well. And then just here in front of me, we've got the Eventuri intake, and then we've got the factory intake. So the Eventuri intake, obviously completely carbon fiber intake, so it doesn't soak up as much heat as the factory plastic intake that's just here. It doesn't get as much heat soak. It's a closed intake system we've got here, and you've also got some nice upgraded ducting as well. So as well as being an upgraded higher flowing intake, it also doesn't allow as much heat to enter into the airflow, which obviously you want to keep as cool as possible. So the intercooler sort of has to do less work. Obviously the cooler the air is, the more power you're going to make, the more sort of like oxygen rich it's going to be. So you've got your high flow Eventuri patented air filter box here. You've got the ducting, the air box rather, that the Eventuri pod sits in. You've got the ducting at the front, and then you've got the intake tube here. And as you can see with the Eventuri intake tube, it's got a much smoother flowing design. So that's going to allow the air to flow much more freely through it and slow down a lot less. And then moving on to here, you've got the FTP charge pipes. So these are the FTP metal charge pipes versus the factory plastic items which you've got here and here. And the main reason why you upgrade to the FTP charge pipes is because this attachment here bolts onto the factory throttle body. What usually happens is when you increase the boost pressure, and especially on older cars where these have become brittle, this basically breaks just here. So as you can see, this is kind of like bonded onto this part, and it basically just breaks the whole way down the middle there. And obviously if this is welded, it's going to be significantly stronger, much more suitable to higher boost pressures, much more reliable, and also it's much more smoother flowing as well. So as you can see through the FTP charge pipes, nice and smooth, whereas this isn't quite as smooth. It reduces in places, quite flat, and then it's got this corrugated bit inside or on the outside, which is also corrugated on the inside. It allows it to flex a little bit, but also slows down the airflow through there as well. And then you've got the other little parts here. So this intercooler hose won't sort of like balloon with boost pressure, won't contract or anything like that. So that's a nice little upgrade there. So yeah, going to get all these parts fitted to the M2 and get it on the dyno, install the Stage 1 ECU software, and we'll talk you through the graphs at the end of the video. So we've just finished off roading the BMW M2 that we've installed, obviously the ECU software, intake, FTP charge pipes and intercooler, and we've got the graphs behind me. So we're just going to talk you through the differences, how the car arrived this morning, and then how it is now. So as you can see behind me, we've got a decent difference the whole entire way across the river range here. So standard, the car was actually making about 370 horsepower at peak, and it was making around about 395 foot-pounds at peak, you see just here. And then now it's making 400 horsepower, about 5,650 RPM, and then it's now making about 442, maybe 45 foot-pounds of torque, all the way down at about 3,600 RPM. And then let's just have a look and see what sort of like the maximum gains in the rev range are. So if we just look here, so yeah, about 3,600 RPM, you've got a nice gain of 50 foot-pounds of torque and 34 horsepower. And then probably going to be up here somewhere in the rev range, you've got your maximum gains in horsepower So just looking through the graph now, and you've got a nice gain of about 39.3 horsepower. And this particular day inside the dyno, it's around about 38 degrees. So that means that our fans are basically just blowing hot air on top of the intercooler. So usually these cars, if we dyno them in sort of the winter, tune them on sort of like a cooler day, then we make it around 410, maybe 420 horsepower. We usually have to cap the torque as well, because the OEM fuel pumps can't necessarily supply the volume of fuel required. So obviously nice strong 400 horsepower in really, really hot weather. Hope you enjoyed this video. I'll see you on the next one. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, then please give us a thumbs up. If you'd like to watch other videos of ours that YouTube thinks you'll like, then click up here. If you'd like to watch some other videos that we have in the same playlist, then click here. And obviously if you enjoyed the video, then we really appreciate if you gave us a subscription. And then obviously you'll be updated when other videos of ours go live, and you can do that quite easily by clicking here. Hope to see you soon.